Hello, my name is Azucena Reyes. Today we'll be going over Lab 6 experiment results. So first of all, we'll talk about some of the safety precautions that I took for both experiments. Some of the safety precautions were one, wearing an apron just to protect you from any spills, goggles if needed. Biggest thing was thermal glove and a thermal pad. With thermal glove and pad, just dealing with the ice just to avoid any cold injuries. And then also with the second experiment, when dealing with the stove top, we had to deal with some of the hot objects, so to avoid any burns. Another safety precaution that I took was having a decon station nearby or a sink, uh, just in case of a spill to be able to clean that up, and also just having a trash can nearby to dispose of any items or unneeded items. And then another thing was just notify any other occupants just in case of emergency. If we had to evacuate the premises, we can do that with a sense of urgency. And with that, we can move on to our results. So with the first experiment, this was my result. So as you can see my chart, these were my initial temperatures, and throughout the experiment, these were the rest of the temperatures that I attained. Biggest thing was my observations was once I added the rock salt to the ice started to melt, and the temperature started to rise. And with time, the liquid started to solidify. So yeah, and then with experiment 2, as you can see, this was my table 2 or experiment 2 results. So these were the temperatures for all 3 test tubes, and then my initial circumference for all 3 balloons, and then my final circumference for all 3 balloons as well. And then here I also drew the bar graph, so you can have a better picture of my results. And then here I also drew the energy diagram. As you can see, this was an exothermic reaction. My reactant was hydrogen peroxide, and then the products were water and oxygen. The catalyst here was the yeast. So without the enzyme, the activation energy was higher, or more activation energy was required. And then with the enzyme, less energy is required. So that is that. So with critical thinking aspect of with experiment 1, explain why the temperature of your ice cream ingredients do not change during the phase change. Biggest reason why is because the liquid and the solid were at a point where they hit a point where they both coexisted at the same time, and which means that there was no heat energy being transferred. So yeah, so the energy flowed worked from the milk to the ice, which created the phase change. So the phase change, like I said, was from liquid to solid. So in this experiment, the liquid was losing heat and it was getting colder. So at that point, it was solidifying. But yeah. So why are enzymes common in biologic organisms? Enzymes are protein molecules that speed up chemical reactions in cells. So some of those reactions could be respiration, photosynthesis, or just making up new proteins. But they're also known as biological catalysts. So with the self-reflection, did everything go exactly as planned? Biggest thing, I was able to complete both experiments, but the biggest obstacle I had was with experiment 1. So with experiment 1, I did follow I followed the lab procedures step by step, but the biggest thing like I said, the biggest obstacle I had was hand coordination. So with hand coordination, it's just dealing with the closing of the Ziploc bags. I was so focused on closing the Ziploc bags properly instead of using a sense of urgency. In the end, my product did not completely solidify. So I did not I guess I didn't get to the desired outcome I wanted. So how was I able to troubleshoot it? So when I was doing my experiments, halfway through it, I kind of had to take a step back and realize, okay, stop focusing on being so OCD about this, and just use a sense of urgency and try to get this experiment done, to be able to attain the desired outcome. But like I said, I did not get to that point. So biggest thing I learned from just doing that experiment was just evaluating the entire process and just focusing on what to improve on. So for my next experiment, I won't do the same mistakes again. And yeah, that is it. So that concludes my video. Thank you for watching.